So I'm fresh out of Pixar's latest Elemental, and I am shocked that I enjoyed this as much as I did. It was quite adorable. I initially didn't really care for this movie. If I missed it, I missed it. It came off very similar towards Zootopia, and I felt like, well, we've already done that before. And while it is a bit derivative of other properties that use inanimate objects, animals, emotions even, as beacons or vessels to convey human experiences and emotions, this one was pretty sweet. This film is a solid allegory for families that have gone through immigration or emigrated from another place to another place and felt kind of out of place. That's a lot of places, but you get what I'm saying. As well as dealing with topics like interracial marriage, accepting everyone, the underlying tones of people that aren't really accepting of immigrants, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. All wrapped up in this albeit cliche romance with Ember and Wade. And believe me, it is very cliche at moments. A lot of the plot beats follow just a lot of films that we've seen in our history. It's nothing new. But for some reason, I found it very charming. The two leads have great chemistry. I love their dynamic. I like their arcs in this movie. And it's a good pro-interracial couple message being sent. You know, I'm a mixed baby, so it works. One of the best aspects of this film is definitely the whole systemic undertone stereotypes that, you know, when it comes to immigration and different races and, you know, America, let's just be honest. Like, for example, this awkward dinner talk where Ember is with a water family. And because the fire people have a distinct way of speaking in their own language, they're like, oh, I'm surprised you speak so well. Little backhanded compliments. If you're a minority, you're definitely going to relate to this heavy. Kind of like hearing, oh, you're one of the good ones. And you're like, what? Or when Ember's father's like, oh, stay away from those water people. All of them are bad, and generalizing everyone. They can be a bit clever at times in this movie, you know, when they're not, you know, on the nose, in your face, you know, lacking nuance. Which brings me to some of my gripes with this movie. It can be very on the nose and not really subtle, especially with its themes and messages. It's very, you know, force-feeding down the throat at times, but it is a kid's movie, so I do get that at some points. But, you know, kids aren't stupid. They can figure out this is paralleling the real world and figure things out. Also, like I said in the beginning, it is very derivative of things like Zootopia, even Inside Out. And while I surprisingly like this, it doesn't quite live up to those expectations, especially Zootopia. I think Zootopia is like miles clear, especially when it comes to dealing with issues and strifes. Zootopia does it a lot better. And also, like I said before, the romance is very basic. It's very third grade level. You could predict everything that happens in this movie when it comes to that, but it works. It's adorable. Visually, I can't believe this movie costs more than Across the Spider-Verse. I believe this budget was $200 million and Across the Spider-Verse was $100 million. But that's not to say this looks bad. I think it looks quite good. I think it's a little step up from the usual Pixar bubbly characters that look like circles. And it's different, so I'll take it. Overall, it reminds me more of a kiddier, slightly dumbed down version of Zootopia. It's very charming and sweet. I think it's also a very valuable story and message being broadcasted to the masses. And a lot of kids with foreign parents are going to relate to this very heavy.